Hello and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About. Today we're doing this in a very different way from other days because we're going to talk about a topic which is very, very important for us living in Finland, living in Vasa. And what's the topic this month?
We're talking about the municipal and regional elections coming up soon.
Great. And today we have Mr. Francis, not as a host, but as our guest. Hello, Mr. Francis.
Hello, Kathy.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm okay. Thank you very much. How was your week?
It's been wonderful. Thanks for asking. How was yours?
Good. It was great. So we're talking about elections.
Yes.
In Finland.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more? Because you have been living in Finland for quite a long time now.
Unlike where we come from, the election, we often 4 years presidential and stuff.
Yeah.
In Finland, there are 4 main elections.
Okay.
That takes place,
Mm-hmm.
and first you have the presidential election.
Yep.
You have the parliamentary election,
Mm-hmm.
and since the CPLA government, now they've introduced a third one, which is the regional election.
Okay.
And then we have the municipal or local election. So these are the 4 main elections that goes on.
All right. So I am more interested into the 2 last ones, the regional elections and the municipal election. Is there a difference between the 2?
Yes, the difference between the 2 is that in the regional election, this involves the region in which we are. So, for instance, we are from the West Coast, so Pohjanmaa or Ostrobotnia.
Yeah.
So all the cities within the Ostrobotnia regions, they belong to that one region.
Okay.
This happens at the other part of.
So let me break it down in simple English. It's like a state.
It's not a state. For instance, in Ghana, we use region.
Okay.
In Finland, they use municipal.
Mm.
But this regional election simply means a collection of municipalities together
Okay.
that form a region.
In the
Okay.
Ostrobotnia.
In the Ostrobotnia.
Okay.
So in Ostrobotnia, there are different municipalities. So, we have Vasa,
Mm-hmm.
we have Istinastad, we have all these Predesori and all those in the Ostrobotnia. They form one regional election. So CPLA government, in a way for them to decentralize the state's ownership in the municipal, they wanted to form a conglomerate of multiple municipalities under one umbrella. So that's why now to govern that region they need. So that's why in April we are going to have these 2 elections.
These 2 elections, great. So I really would like to vote. What about you?
I have always been neutral when it comes to politics.
Okay, all right. But if I want to vote, or
Yes.
our viewers out there would like to vote, who is eligible to vote?
When it comes to eligibility, by now, most of the people that are eligible by now, DVV have already sent them the mail because DVV have all the data
Okay.
of those who are eligible to vote.
Okay. What is one important criteria?
So the criteria is that you should have lived in Finland for 2 years,
Okay.
or in that same municipality for 2 years.
All right.
And also, you can only vote in the regional election or the municipal election because people move within city.
Yes.
So if you've relocated and you've registered your address to that city and you've lived there for more than, I think, 51 days, to the election, then you are eligible to vote in that municipality.
So you don't necessarily need to be a citizen. An immigrant can.
An immigrant, as
Can
long
vote.
as you are registered.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Great.
So I'd like to ask, what is the purpose of this election? What is the aim? What is the electoral candidate going to achieve?
The main purpose of this election is typically to make decisions that govern the city or the region.
Okay.
As you clearly know, there is a lot of decision that has to be made. For instance, what resources should be allocated to healthcare,
Mm-hmm.
what resources should be allocated to school, what resources should be allocated to recreational activities.
Mm-hmm.
So based on this, the city or the region also need to look at how much money they have in.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at all the political parties, each of them have a different view on how these things should be done.
Definitely.
So in order to be able to divide the cake, that's why they need different view to debate. Okay, why do we need a new stadium in Vasa? Then these political parties will then debate, and then once they vote based on that, then the budget is then allocated. So I think mostly it's for, of course, the governance when it comes to resource allocation in a city or the region.
All right, great. I believe there are many candidates.
Of course, there are a lot of different candidates from different political parties.
All right, so how do I choose the right candidate? Maybe not me, because I've not been in Finland for 2 years, but for those who are eligible to vote, how do they choose the right candidate?
There are two main ways that you can choose a candidate. The one is, I can't remember the website, but I think it's this Valley Corner.
Like a questionnaire.
Yeah, it's a questionnaire that you can go. They ask you a series of questions, psychological questions, everything, and then based on those, then the result will then propose the parties that are in line with your view.
Okay.
And then you can then say, okay, and then you can go to the parties individually and check their manifestos and so on and so forth. But then when it comes to how to select the candidates, they also have this same Valley Corner whereby all the candidates registered in the whole of Finland, they have to fill in a form whereby they tell people what they stand for, what change they want to bring and stuff. So you can then look at the people. If you, for instance, you choose party A in Vasa, what are the candidates they have? So you look at their candidates, they have manifesto. If it is in line with your view or what you want to see in our city, for instance, Vasa, then you can then choose to vote for that person. To do that, a number is allocated for every candidate.
Okay.
Typically, they don't put their name, so they only put picture in their number.
Okay.
So for now, the numbers hasn't been located yet. I think maybe from next month they will allocate the numbers, and then you see around as you drive around candidates with their number. So then when you go to vote, then you just write the number on a piece of paper, put it in an envelope, and you hand it over.
Great.
Amazing.
That's very, very, very interesting.
And one thing I would like to add is that voting is very, very important. One, two, it's not like the way voting is done in our country that you have to stand in a long queue. In Finland, there are two ways of voting. First, we have the early voting, which runs for about a week.
Okay.
And in that case, you can vote anywhere within the city in which you are. In this case, Vasa. So the library, they will have some people sitting there. You go there with your passport, your ID card and stuff. And then they have the main election day, which is I think on the 3rd of April. That's the main. And that one, you cannot vote anywhere. You have to vote to only
your region,
your city. Your locality. So for instance, Subilati will have their own boothing station. Ristunumi will have, and City of Vasa, usually they have the library, but then still, if
you're staying in that
particular where you have your address.
Okay. Exactly. That's place, right? You have to. So that on that main day, you cannot vote anywhere else, only in that place. But in the early voting, you can vote anywhere within Vasa. For instance, most of the time when I go to town and then I see, then I remember, I actually need to vote. And I always have my ID. I just walk in, show them within less than 2 minutes.
Wow, that's fast.
Yeah, less than 2 minutes.
That's really fast.
Just give it to them. They check, yes, you can vote. They give you the paper. You go to the booth. You know the number. Just write the number. Put it in an envelope. Come back. Give it to them. And then they just put the glue, lima, and then they give it to you. You put it in the envelope, and then you just drop it, and then you walk away.
That's very,
so
really,
it's very, very
interesting.
saves time, and so please, if you're eligible to vote, I would highly recommend, because we know some of the policies going on now, and a lot of people are not happy with some of the policies. So
if you want to change,
the way things are going, for better, for worse, that is up to you. So if you don't like the way things are,
Yeah.
then this is time for you to exercise. And not just in Barca, if you are watching for us in any other city.
Any other city.
And you are eligible, please, I would say that you should exercise your voice. Otherwise, then you sit somewhere and then, complaining that.
Yeah.
So at least you know that I voted. So whatever decision comes after, at least my conscience is clear that
voices and votes count.
Yeah,
Yes,
they count. Like the slogan of Michelle Obama, which says, instead of complaining, do something. Do something. A vote counts.
And also to know more, most of the cities, they're going to put a board in the city with all the pictures of the candidate and the numbers.
Okay.
So for instance, for us in City of Asa, if you go to Torre, they're going to have a board in each area. All the candidates' name and picture will be there. So then you can then see them and then can memorize which number, because they don't use name. They use only numbers for the vote. And most of the political parties also have booth in the city at the same on Saturdays and stuff. So you can also go there and have a chat with them. So,
interesting. This valuable, very, very valuable information, Mr. Francis. Thank you very much for your time. So we say, if you are eligible, if you are able to vote, if you fulfill all the criteria and requirements, please do vote. If you want to change, you have to vote. Okay? You have to vote. Until then, what do we say? Let's talk about